way. You know those stories that just, they grab you right from the start?
Oh, yeah.
This is definitely one of those. We're looking at the real-life case of a police officer, Rosa. And honestly, her story takes some really dark twists. We're talking love, obsession, and, well, a crime that just leaves you wondering, how? How did it get there?
Pretty shocking stuff.
Yeah, and we've got this great YouTube breakdown. It really dissects the whole case, the one that actually inspired a fictional series. So that's going to be our guide today.
It is genuinely unsettling, isn't it? How
Yeah.
someone, sworn to uphold order can get so tangled up in, well, chaos. Tragedy, really.
Exactly. When it's someone in law enforcement, it really makes you stop and think.
It does.
And Rosa's personal life, I mean, it was a mess long before the really bad stuff happened.
Yeah.
Like a rocky relationship with her partner, Pedro, this difficult custody battle going on with her ex, Jabby.
Okay.
And she was even sort of trying to move on with another cop. It's complicated.
Sounds like a pressure cooker situation already.
Totally. Then boom, Pedro vanishes.
Right.
And when his body is found, burned, the investigation just starts pulling back all these layers on Rosa's life. So our mission here in this deep dive is to trace those key events, the relationships, the moments, what led to this awful outcome, all based on the details from that YouTube analysis.
It really makes you wonder about those intense personal dynamics, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How they can push people towards extreme decisions. Let's get into those relationships.
Okay, yeah, let's rewind. Before Pedro, there was Jabby.
Right, the ex.
Yeah. They actually met. Kind of a fun story. Rosa was out dancing. They built a life, had a daughter together. It seems pretty normal, right?
Okay, yeah. Seems that way.
But then Rosa becomes a police officer. And not long after that, she has an affair with a colleague, Manu.
So infidelity early on, that feels significant maybe, like a potential pattern, or maybe something else going on.
Well, yeah. And what happened next? It caused a massive mess.
How so?
Photos of Rosa and Manu got leaked, not just to Jabby, but like all around the police station.
Oh, wow. Humiliating.
Totally. Jabby left initially. I mean, you would, right?
Yeah, understandable.
But then, and this is kind of surprising, he forgave her. They actually get married after this.
He forgave her and they got married after leaked photos.
Yep. Seems like they tried to make it work. But then Rosa transfers precincts, meets Albert, another cop.
Okay, I think I see where this is going.
Yeah. While married to Jabby, she starts another affair with Albert.
Yeah.
It's like a pattern, like you said.
It really suggests something about navigating commitment, doesn't it? You have to wonder what's driving that.
Exactly. And the thing with Albert, it blows up when Jabby finds a second phone. A secret phone Rosa was using to talk to Albert.
The classic secret phone. That's usually the end.
It was the last straw for Jabby. He ends the marriage. But then, almost like the very next day, Pedro enters the scene.
Wow, okay. No time wasted there.
None at all. Talk about a quick transition.
That speed is striking. Is it
Well,
filling a void? Or just avoiding being alone, maybe?
Yeah.
How did Pedro come on the scene? Was he subtle?
Not according to the analysis. It was described as a full-on attack of romance. Big gestures, flowers, this really elaborate first date.
The love bombing approach.
Pretty much. He apparently wanted Rosa to leave Jabby, but as we know, Jabby was already leaving, and he actually mentioned Albert when he left, so Pedro knew.
So Pedro knew he wasn't the only other guy, essentially. Interesting that he kept pursuing her so intensely. What was his motivation, you wonder?
Good question. And did Rosa hesitate? Doesn't seem like it. She jumps right in with Pedro, and she ends things with Albert. But weirdly,
How so?
she basically threatens him. Kind of implies she'll expose something if he makes trouble.
Whoa, okay. Not exactly an amicable split.
Not at all. And even though she's not with Pedro,
Right.
she keeps talking to Albert.
Still.
Yep. Since in this message, apparently it was really telling. In Spanish, it was, "Él nunca va a ser lo que tú has sido para mí."
Which means?
He will never be what you have been to me. Talking about Pedro.
Oof. Sitting that well with Pedro, that says a lot. Lingering feelings, maybe? Unfinished business?
Has to be, right? And Pedro finds out about this message.
Oh, I bet that went down well.
Not surprisingly, no. He was really hurt. They actually broke up for a bit.
Okay, that makes sense.
But then, and this part's kind of wild, Rosa makes some simple Facebook posts, nothing major, and Pedro just comes back, forgives her.
Just like that? After the message?
Just like that. And gets this, he gives her his phone password, like a total act of trust.
Wow. Okay.
And soon after, he proposes.
And she?
She says yes. Well, wait for it. Still seeing Albert on the side.
Unbelievable. Accepting a proposal while actively having an affair.
Yeah.
That's a lot to unpack psychologically.
It really is. And remember, this detail, it seems minor now, but it becomes huge later. Pedro had back surgery, had a screw in his spine.
Got it. Surgical hardware. Yeah, those details often turn out to be critical in these kinds of investigations.
Exactly. And things start getting even darker. The YouTube analysis suggests that maybe on a trip to the beach, Rosa actually starts thinking about killing Pedro.
Seriously. It escalated to that thought process. Why?
Apparently, she was starting to find him really possessive, controlling. That initial grand romance had soured, it seems.
Okay, so the relationship dynamic shifted dramatically.
Seems so. And then Pedro does something counterproductive. He hires a private detective to investigate Javi.
Javi? Why Javi?
Maybe trying to find dirt or prove something to Rosa. The analysis calls it paños calientes, like a superficial fix, trying to solve the wrong problem.
Yeah, that feels completely misdirected, focusing on the ex instead of their own issues. And it clearly didn't work if she was thinking about
getting rid of him. No, it didn't work. Because soon after that, apparently after one last big fight, Rosa and Albert make the decision. They decide to get rid of Pedro.
That's a terrifying leap. From relationship problems to deciding on murder. It shows a chilling level of desperation, or maybe something colder.
It's awful. The analysis lays out the sequence pretty clearly. Rosa calls Albert, tells him it has to be today.
Wow. So direct.
Albert comes over to Rosa's house. He hits Pedro. The analysis mentioned a blunt object, leaves blood at the scene. And this is maybe the worst part. Rosa's daughter sees her mom covered in blood.
Oh no, that poor child. To witness something like that, involving your own mother, the trauma is just unimaginable.
It's horrifying. And then the cover-up starts immediately.
Right. Got to create the story.
Rosa grabs Pedro's phone, starts sending messages to make it look like he's alive and left on his own.
Creating an alibi, trying to establish a timeline.
Exactly. She even drives near Javi's house and sends a final message from Pedro's phone from there, trying to frame him, presumably.
Pointing the finger elsewhere. Calculated.
Then they move Pedro's body, put it in his car, and burn the car completely. Just incinerate it.
Destroying evidence. A very deliberate, cold set of actions.
But, these things start to unravel. Rosa tries to move on fast, like really fast. She's blaming Javi. She's getting romantic with Albert almost straight away.
That quick rebound itself would look suspicious to investigators, wouldn't it?
You'd think so. And the police, particularly this one investigator, Esther, they start focusing on Albert. He had some history, apparently, and Rosa's story kept changing, full of inconsistencies.
Right. The stories never quite line up when people are lying under pressure.
And then, remember that detail, the screw.
From his back surgery.
Yes.
The body is so badly burned, but they find the screw. And that identifies Pedro. Undeniable.
That piece of metal cuts right through the lies, forensic science doing its job.
Absolutely. And once they're arrested, Rosa and Albert just turn on each other, blaming the other one completely. Their stories totally contradict each other.
The classic prisoner's dilemma. Their alliance crumbles.
And the evidence keeps mounting. The blood in Rosa's house. Forensics showing Pedro couldn't have sent those later messages.
Right. The timing wouldn't work.
Phone signals putting Albert right there at Rosa's house when it happened. Plus, Pedro's ex-wife and a friend testified that those last messages sounded nothing like him.
So multiple lines of evidence pointing the same way. Physical, digital, testimonial. It creates a pretty damning picture. But maybe the most heartbreaking evidence, it came from Rosa's own daughter.
Well, what she saw.
She eventually told her grandparents about seeing her mom with blood on her, hearing screams.
Oh, that's devastating.
Yeah.
A child's testimony about something so horrific.
Yeah.
There's no coming back from that for the defense, surely.
It really sealed it. In the end, the trial finds them both guilty.
Right.
Rosa gets 25 years. The sentence was higher, apparently, because she was his partner, an aggravating factor. Albert gets 20 years.
A long time.
Yeah.
Justice served, perhaps, but the damage is immense.
Yeah. And the YouTube analysis, it points out that the fictional series ends with the scene, years later, Rosa's daughter visiting her mom in prison.
Wow. Just a stark, sad image of the consequences.
It really is. Such a grim reminder, isn't it? That even people sworn to protect can, betray everything. Driven by, what, passion?
Desperation?
Destructive relationships, twisted desires. It's a potent mix. The capacity for darkness exists everywhere, it seems. This whole case, it's just staggering. That contrast, police officer and killer. It really makes you grapple with the complexity of people, of relationships, how things can spiral so tragically.
It absolutely does. It highlights how intense emotions, maybe feeling trapped, maybe a complete loss of moral compass, how these things can lead to the unthinkable.
So turning it over to you listening, what do you think were the biggest drivers here? Was it the tangled, intense relationships? Was it that feeling of desperation Rosa might have had, feeling controlled? Or was it something colder, more calculated?
Yeah. What factors weigh heaviest for you? Passion, manipulation, pure self-preservation gone wrong.
And what's the takeaway from a story like this? The level of deception involved, the impact, especially on the kids caught in the middle. It's definitely a lot to think about.